Hey, welcome back to a brand new episode of the Woodpreneur podcast. This is your host, Steve. Today's guest is Laura Sissoko from Atlantic Fine Woods. How you doing?
Doing great. How are you?
Great. I'm excited to have you on. So
Yeah.
I came across you because you were featured in Urban Wood Network, like a
Yeah.
newsletter or something.
Yeah.
And so, and I was like, oh, I need to meet you all. And so I'd love to learn more. So tell us the origin story. Like, give us your background. How'd you get to be where you are right now?
Okay. I'll give you the short version. It's about 10 years getting here. I studied architecture in school and I had an interest in furniture design. And so I had been working for a furniture designer, Barlis Bayless of Hudson Furniture in New York City for a while. And my father saw an opportunity when Gibson Guitars was getting rated for having allegedly illegally sourced ebony and exotic woods. And the country where I was born in, the Central African Republic, had recently started a managed forest system with their neighboring countries of Chad and the Congo and Cameroon. And so we knew that we had a single chain of custody source for exotic woods. And that's how we started. We got our first container of logs, had ebony, carina, bubinga, anigre, and those four. And several years into it, there was a coup d'etat in the Central African Republic. And so we were no longer able to ethically export. And so that's when we had to make a switch into domestic wood. And that's when we also started hearing about urban wood. And so that was our next step. And it's thriving and doing great. And it's wonderful.
That's incredible. So what year did you guys start? You said it was 10 years ago that you started?
Yep, 2011.
Wow.
And
That's so
then
cool.
2014 was when we had to do the pivot to urban wood. And starting about maybe 5 years ago, we have been doing a lot more furniture projects, just being in an urban center. Not everybody has the workshop space, tool space, or even the knowledge base to make their own tables. And so we've been doing custom work on top of it.
Wow. So tell me, I understand the importing stuff and, there were things out of your control. Tell us about those first couple of years of when you started to pivot and go into domestic route. Like, how'd you get the word out? Where did you build your customer base? And actually, before you even get to that, like, what's your main product and service right now?
It's live edge slabs.
Live edge slab.
Yeah.
Selling raw finish, dried, right?
Yeah. Kiln dried raw slab or kiln dried rough slabs.
Rough slabs. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
Cool. You're selling those to other woodworkers.
Yes.
Cool.
Woodworkers and DIYers.
Awesome. Yeah. So tell us about those first couple of years.
So our first few years with the exotic woods were kind of slow. And it was, just being a new business and all. So by the time we made the pivot, it was a great marketing opportunity. And so we were able to go to all of the local papers and design blogs and those kind of things and talk about our wood. And it was a great selling point having the local urban wood. People loved it, and it just became what people come here for. People come here for the urban wood more often than they come for exotics.
What do you find was the biggest challenge so far in those first couple of years?
So our inventory, we had to build up a group of arborists around town who knew what we were looking for. So that was a challenge. But once we finally had this core group of about 6 tree services who know what we're looking for, now they're able to set aside their logs as they come in until they have a full truckload, and then they bring it to us. And so that, I think that was the most important part, was getting on the same page with all of the tree service, or where we're sourcing our logs, getting on the same page with everyone so that every log that was coming in was getting sliced up completely and sold. And so our turnover rate for inventory increased with the better selection we were able to get. Because it's really important, especially with the live edge slabs and these kind of odd shaped things, to have a variety so that there's always at least 1 or 2 things for people to choose from. And so building up inventory was also one of the more important things that we did, a variety of our inventory.
What was the first piece of equipment that you were like, oh my God, I'm so glad we got that? Or it was like we got a
big boy forklift.
Okay.
It's one that can move logs around. It can take, I don't even know. It's my brother's the one who knows all the specs on that. But once we got the big boy forklift, things were moving a lot faster. The kiln helped a lot. We started out not even kiln drying our wood. So once we were able to offer kiln dried, that helped with sales also. And our newest piece of equipment that we love is our slab flattener. So we're not bothering with the planer and that kind of stuff anymore.
And you could probably go bigger, wider too, right?
Yeah.
What kind of sawmill do you have? Do you have a sawmill?
Yeah, we have a Hudson Oscar.
Okay.
And then we also have a chainsaw mill. I think it's the Alaska.
The Granberg?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And we use that. We use the Alaska for, my brother puts a 5-foot bar on that. And so we use it for the real big things.
So you are selling kiln dried. What kind of kiln do you have? We
have an LD 3000 in a insulated shed. And we also have the Wood-Mizer vacuum kiln, old number. And then we found that with the live edge wood, it's kind of better to use the dehumidification kiln. So that's why we use the LD 3000 for that. And then straighter boards, those kind of things go in the Wood-Mizer kiln.
So there's that. And then I guess where do you see your business growing? I mean, Atlanta's blowing up, so you must be really busy. Like we are. I mean, I have family in Atlanta, and every time, mind boggles me how wide the highways are, and neighborhoods within neighborhoods, right? So, who do you find is your clientele? Like how would you describe them?
So most of our clients Atlanta has this ring highway around it, and it's considered inside the perimeter and outside the perimeter are the kind of cultures of Atlanta. And for the most part, our customers are inside the perimeter kind of city people.
Yeah.
I believe outside of the perimeter, there is access to sawmills and that kind of thing. If you go maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours out of town. So we're mostly the city people. And our custom business has been growing beautifully. And so what we'd like to do is open a retail store with
Awesome.
tops. And we do work with a
Welder.
blacksmith.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so we'd like to have people just kind of choose their tops and bases and do like that in a beautiful retail setting that is not a dusty warehouse.
Yeah. But I'm sure there's some charm to coming to your dusty warehouse too, right?
Oh yeah, people love it. People love coming to the warehouse.
So how do you split up? So you're the furniture designer. What does your brother do? Is he the sawyer?
He's the sawyer. Unfortunately, he's had some medical issues, and it looks like I'm going to be the new sawyer.
Okay.
So
Okay.
that's next year as I learn. And then we have some wonderful interns and help that we get here too.
Awesome. Awesome.
But traditionally, my job has been like marketing and customer care and the furniture design and base design.
Furniture design and finishing and stuff.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. I would be remiss if I didn't, I mean, like, what does it feel like or to be a Black woman in the sawmill industry?
I'm the only one, pretty sure.
I know. Well, yeah. Well, Sawyer wise, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's some furniture designers, but Sawyer wise, yeah.
So, and I know I'm the only one who would be doing it start to finish with everything. I'm proud of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Were
you that hands-on in architecture school, or did you really get more hands-on with this business?
I had a furniture built design course, and so I'd been making furniture for a while.
Yeah.
But I'd say in the past 10 years is when I've really learned the most.
Really? Yeah. That's so cool. Yeah, for me, I think I love making, and I see that it has the potential to really add a different context to furniture that's being built, right? So like there's this story of the wood, then there's this story of the person that makes it. And I believe, like, if you want to get all woo-woo, there's like a connection to the maker and the piece that they're creating, right? And so
absolutely.
I wanted, that's what the thing that really I'm passionate about is like telling more stories and having people like understand. And I generally want people to see people succeed, because if you love, like, it's not an easy job, right? Like it's not, it's a lot of work, right? Yeah. Like sanding is annoying, but like you just do it because the end result is amazing. And so I don't know, I just think that's amazing. So this is
one of those things. Not everybody has a job where you get results quickly and everybody is always happy,
always happy. Always happy. No, it's so true. Like
I've had one return and in 10 years. And so
it's literally made for, I was making some boards the other day. For some clients, and I was listening to some music and totally. And I was thinking about, I just recently lost my father.
Sorry to hear that.
Thank you. And I was so crazy. I know somebody's going to come to me on Instagram and I wept, but it was like I was able to put that into the work.
Yeah.
Like, You know what I mean? Like you don't
Yeah,
see that in
emotional.
normal.
Yeah.
It's like crafting and making is emotional. It's like it's your soul in the pieces. And so when I'm on your Instagram, and the work that you do is really beautiful, and it's like you can tell there's a lot of care and love in your work. I'm so happy to share your story. So tell me, so this is the part of the interview where I give you marketing and business advice. And if you listen to the podcast, it's basically like a mini coaching session. So I'd love to help you. Tell me what's a burning, pressing challenge that you guys have right now?
Well, I think we're in a space of transition right now, right? So we're trying to open a furniture store, which is separate, but still similar to our shop. Our shop is at the edge of the city. We want the new store to be very much in the center of the city and like Midtown. And it's going to be a grab for different clientele and a different price point. And because I mean, a slab to table, that's a difference of $1,000 and $8,000.
$8,000. Yeah.
And so I'm going to be transitioning into that. And that's probably the most pressing issue, because I think as far as our sawmill is going, I'm really proud. I just need to brag for a little bit, because we were contacted by the Gustav Stickley Museum, and we're going to be providing them with wood for some renovation projects to the home that Gustav Stickley built by hand.
Wow.
So I'm super proud of the lumber sawmill
part of the business.
Part of it, but I am kind of flailing with how I'm going to market the furniture and the higher end.
So when you were saying, I had two thoughts, and this is kind of like, so this is like a new idea. And then the other part is, so the first challenge is like, is it around finding the space and developing the market for this retail clientele? Is that
we're going for the specific place is Pond City Market that we're going for, and so that's a hipster area. It's kind of a mall. The first floor is like all food court, and then there's stores going up. I don't know if you've ever been there.
No.
But it's a newer.
So you've identified a venue. I mean, a space.
That's where we want to be. Yeah.
When is the lease?
We don't know. We have not gotten that far. We just know where we want to be. We are, because with my brother's health problem, he had open heart surgery, kind of emergency. Always go to your doctor. The doctor found it at his regular checkup. But the doctor found it, and a week later he was under the knife. So, so we're dealing with that and figuring out how the business works.
So I'll give you a couple of things. One is, and he's recovering right now. Yeah,
he's doing great.
Okay,
but
great.
He's not going to be going back to slinging.
So here's what I have two thoughts. One is find somebody or two. So if you have some savings, find somebody or two so that your brother can train them and that it's not you.
Okay.
Like, because you're an important part of the business. You are the most important part of the business at the moment. And you should know how to do it, but somebody else should do it. Just because you can do it, that doesn't mean that you should do it. Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I think at the very least, it's like, you can get an apprentice, you call it like a Sawyer apprentice. You pay them $20 an hour, 15, 20, $25 an hour, right? You do a paid training. You do a paid training at a fixed cost. So like, listen, I'm going to train you to be a Sawyer, and you can get, $500 or $1,000. And upon successful completion, you're going to be our Sawyer. You're going to work 20 hours a week at $20 an hour, right? And just, that's what it is. Like, find somebody and do that, because it's a different mindset when you're milling and then switching to customers and then switching to marketing and then switching. It's like, it's too much. And you operate in a zone of creativity, whereas being a Sawyer is like a technical trade, but it uses a different part of your brain. And so your context switching is going to be very hard, and it's going to be hard for you to continue to grow the business. So like, offset that completely. Mm-hmm. The second thing is, if you have a lot of slabs for sale, right? I would like really, really lean into, so like, just make it a point to get on Instagram stories and talk more to your community, and really, really build a Facebook group just for Atlanta woodworkers, right? And literally make your company the center of it. Serve them, have a meetup, like have a coffee, like first Friday of the month, come inside and have beer and talk and network, right? Maybe if you do that, you may even find a Sawyer in there, right?
True. Yeah.
So that's what you do. That's the second thing. The third thing is, before you dive in to thinking about getting a retail space, test it out. How can you test it out? Find a business that is complementary to yours, whether it's like a flower shop or another DIY shop, and just say, hey, look, and make sure that it's in the area that you think you want to be.
Yeah.
Approach them next spring, right? And say, hey, I'd like to do a pop-up. Can I rent out your space? I mean, you could do a pop-up in like the slow season, like February or whatever, right? Find a place, do a pop-up. Oh, and there's even rent retail. There's like I use it to do an event. There's like rental pop-up venues. I totally use it. I use it 2 times to book events. Venue rental site. I'll find it, but Peer Space, that's what it is.
Peer Space, okay.
PEER, peerspace.com. So you can go there and you can rent a place for a week. You can rent a place for 2 days. Yeah. Right. And they have all sorts of spaces, You rent it, you put together a budget for like $2,000, $3,000 or whatever. You get 20 grand of inventory. A month before, 2 months before, 6 weeks out, you scrape together a massive big database of all of your people. You create an event. You have an opening night event, and you have a party. So you call it like you have a party, and you invite people, and people will buy. You have an opening night, and then you have 2-3 days of sales. Yeah, create it like an art gallery opening.
Absolutely. Yeah, I totally get it. Yeah, pop up.
Because then you're not out, because when you sign a lease, there's first, last, security. There's like a whole year. Yeah.
So we had earlier in the year, around summertime, we had tried to get a space with our blacksmith. And he had a catastrophic fire. And so we couldn't do it. Yeah. But we were able, because we were gearing up for this new space, we had been able to finish I think it was 6 tabletops. Wow. And we had like within weeks, we had sold them out of our warehouse. So the demand's there. Testing the waters is probably
I would test it out before you're out, like a lot of money. Because when you set up a space, there's like electrical and you're gonna have to build out the space. So you're gonna like lose a month of like, because and then you won't have your brother around, right? So like so anyway, so those are the ideas. So 1 is hire somebody. 2 is create a maker meetup in Atlanta in your space.
At our warehouse.
And then 3, in your warehouse. Like contact a beer company, get some beer, get a DJ, have some speakers. Like, you know what I mean? Like, do you know Shar, Wood Maven?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, cool. And then the third is to do a pop-up.
Yep.
That's like $500,000 right there of ideas. You're gonna save time. So,
yeah.
Cool. Was that helpful?
Very, very. Thank you.
Awesome. All right. Well, any last bit of parting advice for the Woodpreneur community?
Yes. When we had started out, I was trying to kind of scattershot my marketing to like nationwide. And it wasn't until I focused on local marketing is when we really started to see a turnaround in our business. That's like my first bit of advice for people, small businesses, is focus on your local market. Get those people who are going to be loyal to you for decades to come.
Awesome. And how can people get in touch? What's your website? What's your Instagram?
We are AtlanticFineWoods.com, Atlantic like the ocean, but we also own Atlanta Fine Woods. That'll send you to the right website, don't worry. And our Instagram, Atlantic Fine Woods, and Facebook and Twitter are all the same.
Awesome. Well, thank you.
I have TikTok now. We'll see how I do with
see how that goes.
Updating that. But yeah, we're in with the Zennials too.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time and for sharing your story. And I'm really happy to get your story out. Thanks for checking out the latest episode of the Woodpreneur podcast. If you found value and love what you listened to, please subscribe, rate, and review so that more people can learn about our mission and vision. Lastly, join our community, the Woodpreneur Membership Community. It's a marketing and training program to help you market and build your wood business past 6 figures.